Right, just before we get started, a couple of housekeeping things because we've got a guest speaker in this time. I'm going to just stand in and say this. The workshops are live streamed. They go straight out live to YouTube and Facebook. As a result, if you want to ask a question but you don't want your voice to be available on the archive, stick your hand up. We will ask it for you, and that way you're not present on the archive. And equally, if you think, what on earth did he say in a couple of days' time, that's what the archive is there for. You can dip in and pull up the information. And equally, we've been archiving our workshops since about 2013-14, I think, something at that level. So there are literally thousands on different subjects. But this is kind of the first time we've done an invitation to this year's winner of Mr. Leather London, because thankfully we're starting to see more people take an interest in leather culture, the traditions, the history, the prep, the competitions that go behind it. And I think it's a really good way of kind of sharing those values with new people. So hopefully this will be a regular thing where we invite the winner to come and present for us.
No pressure.
But there we go. So without further ado, let me give the stage over to Stefan, Mr. Leather London 2024.
Right, let me do that again. That was not loud enough. Right, you guys are a very easy audience. Excellent. Right, so my name is Stefan Harivello. By day, I go by the name of Mr. Harivello in the school, secondary school. And by night, I'm Mr. Leather London now. But also, I'm Kaiser. So Kaiser is my dom name. I'm a switch when it comes to BDSM. So for me, as long as it's fun, it's good. Consensual, of course. But generally speaking, I'm just a leather man. You'll see me in leather at any point of day, regardless of how hot it is outside. Because when it's hot, sometimes people go, oh, God, I couldn't wear it. I love it, but I couldn't wear it. Just wear leather shorts, leather t-shirts. It's fine. You'll be sweaty, but it's fine. Right, so I've got two people helping me today. And they're part of the House of Kaiser, which is the kinky house that I'm the head of. And we've got K2. All right, let's do that again. I need applauses. Right?
I don't need that.
Right, that's not what I said. Go back. And once more, K2. We also have K3. As you can see, the name. So my teacher side, obviously, is always part of me. So we've got pens, and we've got a piece of card that I would like to for everyone to have with themselves, because I'm going to use it towards the end of the talk. Because it's not just about me talking at you guys, it's about us actually sharing knowledge. The knowledge that I'm going to share with you today is based on my own experience. Personally, I'm a gay man, but of course, leather transcends frontiers. You can be straight, you can be bi, you can be any kind of denomination. I think it can be attractive to all of us. So I'm going to ask, while I'm speaking, I'm going to ask K2 to give you a card, one each, and I'm going to ask K3 to give you a pen, one each. You can leave it aside for now. We don't need it for now, but we'll get to that point at towards the end. Yes?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So you can do that. So who is Mr. Leather London? This is a very new title to me because it's been literally a month. It's been a month. I never thought I would go for this kind of titles originally, and then this guy turned up and then pushed me into doing it. So I was like, okay, fair enough. I've been on the London scene for, I want to say, at least 15 years. I'd say it was 20 years. I'm not originally from London. I'm from Madagascar originally. So I'm a proud African. Whoa. But I'm also partly French, and I lived in France for a while. But when I moved to London in 2004, is when I realized, okay, this is my home because of King and because of leather, and I feel like I can actually wear leather anytime, anywhere here, apart from work. Even at work, I wear some leather, like just boots, something subdued. Um, Even though one of the kids the other day said, "So why are you wearing high heels?" And my answer to that was, "Because I want to." And then he walked away. There were no actual high heels. There were cowboy boots, but with fairly high heels. So London Leatherman, which is basically the club that I'm representing as Mr. Leather London, has been going on for over 50 years. It's one of the oldest or longest running leather club in Europe. It's part of what is called the ECMC, which is a club for bikers. That's what it was initially designed for. Now, this has changed over time and it's turned into a leather club. Now, to be a member of the London Leatherman, this is the crest. You need to at least know two people who are part of the club first, and that's how you apply for it. Those people are sort of guarantors that you'll be helpful and you'll fit in within that circle. We've had our first biological women joining this year because originally it was directed at men only, particularly gay men. Because when you go back through history, in the 1940s, when men came back from the Second World War, especially in the US, they needed some kind of way to continue that brotherhood that they had in the army, also continue the structure that they had within the army with the different ranks. So what happened in the US is that they created um, motorcycle clubs where gay men could actually hang out without being on the suspicion that they were gay at the time. So that's how the whole, at least one part of the leather community, the leather gay community started. Uh, think Marlon Brando, that's the reference. So at the time, it was actually a mixture of denim and leather and motorcycling. Over time, it's changed into more substantial amount of leather. Obviously, it was also inspired by Tom of Finland. Tom of Finland promoted the idea of the uniform. Now, people don't necessarily know that, especially in the UK, there's been another branch of the kind of inspired leatherman and leather women and leather people in general to that comes from punk. Now, I'm not a punk myself, but I have a mohawk. And because for me, the uniform is one thing and it's something that I really enjoy. But at the same time, for me, it's the leather. It's the feeling that we get from actually wearing it. It's the feeling that we get from wearing it in public and having the people look at you maybe in an inquisitive way, going, "Oh, what's going on here? Are you a biker?" Who's had that question before? You know that I've had it on public transport. You know, look at you and say, "Are you a biker?" And my answer is no. And then they look confused, and that's okay. And actually, I don't mind that. if they keep on asking, I say I'm a fetishist. And generally, actually, the response is not that negative at all. It's quite the opposite. People are intrigued. I think it's harder for people who are into rubber, especially in public. Now, do you have any questions about me as a person so far? Absolutely no questions. I saw you, Johnny, over there. No, I'm just kidding. Right, okay. So,
I have one.
yes, go on.
Did it start in Madagascar or did it start in India?
Oh, okay. That could be one of the later questions, but I'll answer you. So, for me, it started when I was about 10, 11. At the time, of course, I didn't know if it was anything sexual at all. But I remember my grandmother bought me my first leather jacket, which I later discovered that it wasn't actually leather. Oh. But I thought it was leather, and I was really excited about it. But because we grew up in Madagascar, I didn't have any excuse to wear it because it's always hot. The only reason I could wear it would be to go to church. But I remembered where my grandma put it. So one day she went to the market and climbed on the stool, grabbed it, and wore it and paraded across the balcony in the sunshine. And then I didn't hear her actually come back early. She's like, "What are you doing? Put that back. It's only for special occasions." So that's where it started. But also, actually, it turns out that my father was collecting leather jackets, and I didn't know until recently that it's a family thing. I don't know to what extent we have things in common.
Something of blood.
But I spoke to one of my uncles. He was in hospital. I was visiting, and I said, "Oh, I'm looking for second-hand leather jackets." And he goes, "Oh, well, I know this place, and then you need to go to the other place you can't find anything." He knew 3 to 4 places in town, and this is in Africa. Like there's no labeled leather shop. And then the thing that surprised me most was when he gave me the card to his tailor. And he said, "Oh, this is the only thing that I spend money on. Like, I just bring my jacket there and I play around with it and then I wear it. I'm happy about it. And then I return it again. It's expensive, but it really works." And I checked, it really works. So yeah, that's where I come from. So it's been going on for a long time.
Leather when you teach, and what do you teach?
Oh. I do to some extent because it's still school.
Underwear.
So sorry. So I wear boots. I wear cowboy boots. I wear my septum, which is very lucky. My school is okay with it. I wear my mohawk, which is
Up or down?
the kids keep on saying, "Can you put it up?" And I say, "No." For special occasions. And I wear usually a jacket or gloves on the way to school and from school. And now, while we're talking about school, the kids at school know. They found out because I did a recon interview in 2016, and they found a YouTube video. And obviously, shared it amongst every student in the school. Within 2 hours, I knew about it. One of them came to me and said, "So I know you're wearing leather." Yes, and I didn't think much of it. And then they mentioned my recon name, and I was like, but I didn't say that. I said, "Oh, okay. So you're spending time searching for information about your teachers. I wonder how that would go if I were to report it." They just ran as if I wouldn't know who they were. But in the end, I had to speak to my manager about it, and his land manager, and the child protection officer, and the head teacher.
Crazy.
So I was okay with it. I went in and I thought, actually, what is the worst that can happen? You can fire me from teaching. Oh no! It's such a lovely job all the time. But in reality, as long as you don't have any nudity, actually, that's the issue that is related to teaching. And I totally understand that because we're teaching kids, right? But in this case, there was no nudity at all. In fact, I was covered head to toe. So the fun part is that they had to watch the video as the member of staff involved, which increased my views. Oh, I forgot one little detail is that I worked in a Jewish school, and the head teacher back then was actually a reverend, a priest. He wasn't Jewish either. I'm not Jewish personally, but so he watched the video too, and then from that moment on, every time I saw him in the corridor, he'd be like, looking down. He wouldn't make eye contact with me. I was like, okay, whatever. But yeah, I do wear it in school. Right. So where we at time wise?
Got 4 minutes.
Oh, we're good. Yes.
What was the weirdest or the most funny reaction you got, or something that stuck with you when people found out you're not a biker, but it's a fetish?
Oh, I've got one. So sometimes I travel to Berlin. It's not very often, but it happens. And usually I travel smartly. So I love leather, but also love bondage, as you will see in a minute. Calm down. So that particular trip, in my hand luggage, I only had chains and an anal hook. And the lady, a very tall lady from Heathrow, said, "Oh, you're back because I wear my gear when I travel too." First of all, it's cheaper because you don't have to check in the bag.
Mhm.
Also, I like it. So they opened the bag and said, "Oh, so where are you traveling to?" I said, "I'm going to a fetish event in Berlin." He goes, all right. Okay, so you've got chains in here." I said, "Yes." And they start pulling the anal hook out in front of a Chinese family who's behind me. And they go, "So what's this?" I said, "That would be an anal hook." And they went, "You can go now." So that was not embarrassing for me, but it was embarrassing for them, which is kind of fun, actually. But that day I was wearing a biker jacket, actually. And they said, "Oh, you're a biker." I said, "No, I'm not." And then you have this moment where they're thinking, "So what does that mean?" By the time you were already gone, but yeah, it happens. I say, don't give a fuck about that. Yes.
Why do you buy most of your leather?
Okay, we get to that point later. Calm down. All right. I'll let you guys ask questions in a bit. Is that okay? Because otherwise we're never going to get through this. You're like my students at school. Mm. Right. So I wanted to show you a few things. Half of my house is here. We had to carry it around town today. Me, can you get the hoops? 3. 3, 2, 1. So a very casual hood that you can wear to wear it. No, it's not. So you were mentioned where do I get my gear from? A lot of my gear is actually secondhand. Just because I'm a bloody teacher, I don't have the money for that kind of thing. So this was anyone? How much?
80.
25. From a secondhand market that was run by Brew Hunter, who is one of the pillars of the gay scene when it comes to leather and fetish. He used to do a secondhand market at the Bishopsgate Institute, which is based next to Liverpool Street. Accessible to everyone.
They have a fetish shop.
Yeah, and I think hopefully in the near in the future he might restart that. I also had a second-hand market running in the Lord Clyde, which is based near Deptford Bridge or New Crossgate. I'm hoping to restart it again if there's a bit more interest in it. The issue that we had at the time was that there would be a lot of people selling, but not so many people actually buying at that point. So maybe make it more of a 2 to 3 months, every 3 months event kind of thing. It makes it more special. All right. This hood is special to me because it was made by Master U, which used to be a leather shop, leather tailor in Vauxhall. And it's handmade. At the time it was 200 quid, which is a bit pricey, but once you put it on, you're like, so it's got pinholes, which from the outside it looks like the person can't see you, but they can see everything. It's quite fun to wear. Okay, you can return that. K2, can you get the pieces of clothing? So all of that pile. 5, 4, 3, 2, delay, 1.
Well done for avoiding the table. It's gonna happen eventually.
Let's not do that. All right. Okay, so that's fine. You can hold it. That's it. And do the rest. So I'm also one of the. Well, actually, I'm the only one left. I'm the host of the Leather Social. So the Leather Social started about 10 years ago. It's usually at Compton's in Soho. It's actually running now. Thank you guys. No. But it's literally for leather enthusiasts. And up to now, we've been catering to gay men in person, as a group. But at the same time, we've had in the past a few women coming in as well. So it's a social. So there's nothing that prevents us from being in the same room together, I think. So what I would suggest, if you want to start out with leather, is start small. You don't have to have the full leather uniform head to toe. If you can, great. If that's your thing, great. If it's not your thing, I think being a leather man or leather woman or whatever gender you define yourselves as, it's really up to what you make of it. Never let somebody go around and say, oh, I think a leather man or a leather woman or a leather person is like this. And that's it. Because it's up to you to define it, really. So I would start with this. Why this? Because you can use it for many different purposes. You can wear it for formal events. You want to dress up. It looks really good with a shirt in or t-shirt in or even a cotton t-shirt in. But also you can use it for play. I like impact play. So I need to be able to move. Right now, can go as high as this. So that's not necessarily the most helpful thing. Whereas with this, I can actually move around. It's comfortable, but it's also really fast to put on. So how much do you think that costs? 30 on eBay. So people who say, it's too expensive. It's not cheap always, but at the same time, you can take steps towards saving, even if, let's say your job is not the best paid job in the world, you can try and save £5 to £10 a month, and you get to a point where you can buy something. The only thing I'd say is measurements. Make it fit. How much do you think this jacket was?
50 quid.
Okay, it's not that.
70 quid. 90.
200.
Okay, 120. Which is not too bad. It's secondhand, and it's one of my favorite jackets now, actually. Just because of the fit, it looks like it was made for me. Creaks. This is what I like to do when my partner is around and was watching TV. No, I actually do. He hates it. So it's not necessarily about how expensive it is. It's how you're feeling it. It's the quality of the leather. Is it shiny but quite thick? That's how I like it. Some people might like it thinner and more comfortable. Those are great, but at the same time, in terms of durability, it's not as long lasting. Um, Cowhide is usually my favorite kind of leather. It's the most common to some extent, but you can also have horsehide, which is, if I could afford, it's probably one of my top ones because it's super shiny, it's very thick, smooth, and it creaks like hell. So,
France would probably be the best place for that, wouldn't it?
well, you tell me. I haven't been for a while.
Well,
No, you can
they eat
be.
a lot of horse.
Yeah, you can be.
Yeah.
You can find them even here, but a lot of the leathers is imported from Italy anyway. So that's an example of what you can wear. Let's say, for instance, you want to be a bit adventurous and you're going to go to a party. Why not buy a jock? Now, there's different types of jocks, and the ones that I particularly like is the ones that has an elastic at the back. Just because it's not leather, for me, it doesn't work as much as well as having a full leather one. Now, as you can see, you can actually the wrong way. You can adapt it to your actual waist. You can do the same thing on the sides. It's really nice and helpful. Now, for use, you can go. Now, there's holes there for another reason. I also use this as a strap on with different sizes, not the bottom. So that's the way I like to use it. I adapted it. I literally just cut with the scissors. But that's the one way of using leather as well, is to use it for different purposes. When I buy leather, normally I'm thinking, oh, what can I use it for? Can I use it for play? Can I use it for both? Can I use it for casual wear? In most of the time, I can do it for all of them. I mean, you might as well use it as much as possible if you spend, let's say, 50 quid, 60 quid on something, right? The usual piece of leather that I would advise people to get is a leather jacket, because you can wear it anytime. You can wear it even in family dues if you wish. Okay. Another piece of leather, if you want to be playful, is the famous chaps. Now, the part that is important, I think, is the fit again, and particularly here and here. This part, and you put it on, it stays here, and if that flaps, that means it's too big. Now, how do you actually fix it? You just take it to a leather tailor. Now, some people might not necessarily be totally trust in like some other shops, like in Brick Lane, where there are some leather shops there. They have their own tailors. But if you look carefully and you try a few, you will find out there's actually some that are really good. Some tailors that are really good. You have to really be really simple in the way you instruct them to change things, and it's really reasonable in terms of price. That's what I do. So these originally were much wider for the legs, and what I did is I got them to tailor it to my leg. On my leg, normally the top one is really, my thigh is really wide, and my calves are really wide. So they found a way to actually follow my shape. which is something that you would pay hundreds of pounds for in a leather shop. Which again, that's not a bad thing. You get quality there too, but it's just a case of it depends on your budget. This applies to men and women and any gender. You can wear it, probably not wear it to work. Unless you work in the ranch.
Or feelings on it.
Okay, that was a good cowboy.
I have some too. It does actually, it's really it's fun. Okay. Right. What are these? Joggers?
Joggers.
They were quite good.
Yeah.
Aha. Okay. So they're actually breeches. Breeches were designed actually for horse riders originally.
Yeah, that's joggers. It's the same job.
Okay.
But not in leather. Joggers.
And they were also used in the army. Any army. Now, if you wear this, and then sometimes people would come and say, "Does that mean you're a Nazi?"
I was just about to say the Luftwaffe they used to wear.
Now, if you look carefully, actually, the Nazi ones are different. The shape straight. And
Then they cut it. Yeah.
now, if you look in the British Army, they have the same. Are they Nazi? So yeah. So it's about also knowing where the gear comes from, where the ID comes from, because then you will be able to say to people who are questioning things, actually, no, that's not what it is. And you might think so, but I don't agree with that. I don't use Nazi-related uniforms. So it's about knowing your gear. These were second-hand or third-hand from a friend, and they were 100 quid. I didn't have to do much to them. Oh, when you do have leather that is really, really tight, what do you do? And you can hardly fit in it.
Cut it and then put a lace in it.
You can.
You
would be
heat it
fine.
up and it stretches.
Exactly. How do you heat it up?
Hair dryer.
You can use a hairdryer. What I did with this, because the curls were really tight, is I actually put it in warm water for 10 minutes, and you massage it every 10 minutes or so. And after a while, because of the heat and the water, it makes it
Malleable.
malleable. And therefore, it stretches a little bit more. You won't stretch by 3 sizes, but you can stretch enough so that you can fit in it better. And then I wore it while it was still wet. I know. It's a commitment.
It's like the Levi jeans back in the 70s. When you like
Pretty
literally
much.
put one and sit in the bar.
Pretty much. And the important part is before it dries completely is to recondition it. Because if you don't, it will dry out and will
Do
crack.
you saddle soap?
Pardon?
Do you saddle soap?
I use saddle soap usually to clean it. So saddle soap you can get on eBay or even Amazon. It's like wax. And you just apply it. And what I do is I don't go in circles at all. You just go once with a towel.
Yeah.
A cotton
I
towel.
only know about leather toys off code.
It's the same. It's the same principle. It's one way of cleaning because people will ask you, well, how do you clean your leathers? That's how you clean it. And also after that, I usually apply. I think it's called Foot Sneak. It's orange, and it's actually designed for saddles, for horse riding. It's an oil. Now the oil really stinks. So you. You can use it. I wouldn't say. I would say don't use it more often than every 6 months. Only because it makes your leather so soft and so shiny that if it becomes too soft and you do it too often, it will tear. So ideally, every 6 months, whenever you feel like your leather needs a bit more to be more supple, then you can apply it. Again, what I do is I dab a cloth, a cotton cloth, a towel, and then I apply it in circles.
What do you do just out of interest, especially on trousers for cleaning the inside?
The real way to do it is to take it to the dry cleaner. I don't think there's any other ways, but sometimes a little bit of dirt is nice. Not too much. My issue is that my sweat is very salty for some reason, and when it comes to hoods and things like that, and it's quite thin, it can actually make it crack. So we've already returned.
Can you immerse it in water to just get rid of that salt thing?
I've never tried it. I've never tried it actually. I just usually use a bit of soap and warm water and then clean the area. But it depends. I don't know any other ways to do it.
I just wonder if you have any tips you use versus dry cleaning.
Yeah, dry cleaning is usually the safest way to clean the inside. Right. Talking about styles, we also have the sailors style. Easy access. And then when you open, you've got access to the rest of the package.
I thought you said a wallet.
I mean, also usable as a wallet. Good luck with that. So this is another style of leather trousers they can wear. These were again secondhand. It's really difficult to find these secondhand, but it happens. Another friend of mine actually found another pair in the same shop in Brick Lane. Now in Brick Lane, there's these underground vintage shops. Have you ever been there? It's next to Bar 1001. It's got the same building. It's really, really nice to find bargains, and I think the only way is really to go there and try it on. Sometimes you look at something on the rack and you think, that's not going to fit, that's not going to be the right style, but you put it on and it fits. Salvo, can I use you as an example? Say hi to Salvo, everybody.
Hello.
He loves being the center of attention. So turn around. So from the front, it looks like a normal jacket, and from the back, the cut is slightly different. It's got the V piping, or whatever you call it. That was from the vintage shops in Shoreditch, and how much was it again?
Yeah, it was for 150, I think.
Yeah. So it's the kind of thing they can find in a second-hand shop. Of course, you can't just go in and think, I want this, I want a Muika. But in reality, if you browse often enough, you'll find something that you like. For me personally, I love the thrill that you get when you rummage through things and you go, oh, this is what I wanted. And then when you see the price, it's even better. So that's what I would advise people to start with, especially if you're starting out with leather. This was made by a friend called Max Creates. No, that's wrong. Spikes Creates. And he's on Instagram. He used to do theater costume making, and during the pandemic, he transferred his skills to leather. So now he makes hoods and he makes muzzles, and as amongst other things, he also makes clothing, especially leather clothing with spikes. So it's all handmade. Follow him on Instagram. He'd happily give you a quote if you're interested in an outfit from him. His name is Spikes Create on Instagram. These. How many of you do use this? Oh, you have one. What do you use it for, though?
Flagging.
Ah, okay. So flagging in the gay world. If I wear this on my left wrist, it means I'm a dominant or a top. Because there are two different things. Dominant is regarding BDSM, and top is actually sexually. So I'm personally a dom in this instance. So yes.
Yes.
Whereas sexually, I'm more of a bottom. So it gives you an idea of who you're speaking to. Now, it's not always the case. Some people wear it on both sides because it looks good. It happens. Likewise, when it comes to chains, people who wear chains don't necessarily mean that they're owned. In this case, it's true. Give a box. A better one. What? Gonna have to work on that. Some people wear it for a reason. Some people wear it for fashion. One thing that I would say to everybody when it comes to BDSM in particular, avoid touching before asking. That could be a case of asking the dom first and say, do you mind if I speak to your sub? Or it could be a case of speaking to the sub and go, do you mind if I touch? Because I think it's just a natural thing to go, oh, wow, this is amazing. Let me have a feel for it. But in reality, it's almost sacred. It's like a ring band for someone who's married. You kind of don't want to go there and touch without asking for permission. So it's one thing that we need to keep in mind. He's wearing a kilt today. How much did you buy that online?
So this one was £40.
Thank you.
So it was from a website called Second Skin. They primarily, well, everything really: leather, rubber, fetish gear, toys, masks and hoods. It's a really convenient way to sew it, much more easier than eBay. My boots came from a skinhead from Brighton.
That doesn't sound right.
And the vest I actually won in the competition, so I can't really talk that. But so I've only recently got into the leather scene within the last 3 years, and I was in a similar boat of not a lot of money, limited storage space, because surprisingly somehow I managed to hide it from my parents for God knows how many years.
3.
You know, I've been since I was 18. So it's always a case of, you know, secondhand markets, eBay, Second Skin, friends. Sometimes if you're in a particular dynamic with a leather master, they will hand down gear to their subs as a rite of passage. Not done that yet.
It's not about to happen with this.
I've been eyeing up on
Well, here you go.
Oh, thank you.
Are you done now with your speech?
Can I ask you, how do you get your chain on and off? Because it looks quite.
Yeah, so this chain, it's got a, somewhere, I don't know where it is. Oh, there it is. So it's got a false hook that you can undo.
Fantastic.
This chain is stainless steel, so you can actually wear it for long periods of time, whereas the ones you buy from just hardware stores, although they do work, they can rub off on your skin, turn your skin green. Yeah, not very nice. This one was the only place I've seen where you can get these is from a store in London called Regulation. They sell all different thickness of chains, different lengths, but this is the thickest, biggest one they do. And
But you had to get, obviously.
I wear it out and about as much as I can. I even went into Fortnum and Mason's and wearing it. And one of the shopping assistants came running up to me and was like, oh my god, is it real? Is it real? It's like, yes, of course it's real. Oh, real silver?
Platinum.
Yeah.
Civilian allowed.
By the way, I've only got one kitty.
So it's like,
Have you sold the other one for another?
but sadly, I had to tell her the truth is it's just stainless steel.
No, just lie.
I've also tried taking it through Berlin airport security,
Oh,
which
God.
was interesting. They did not like that at all.
I wonder why.
I was there with tall leather boots with steel toe caps, full leather gear, this chain on, and
They said no.
they basically asked me to strip down as much as I could. And
Which was so uncomfortable.
So you're just going, oh.
it goes far down into my boxes, and that's it. I'm not taking my off.
So the first time I met K2, it was because he was at the closure of the Backstreet, which is one of the leather clubs, one of the gay leather clubs in London. And he was this ballsy little kid, which he still is, which is annoying because now I have to
You
teach
wanted
him
to
stuff.
say,
Oh,
trying to.
I've got a top secret thing. I'll show you in a minute. Now, you can see they're wearing the same T-shirt because they're part of the House of Kaiser, which is my kinky house. There's 4 of them. 2 of them are busy on work trips, so they're not available. But what I like to do with them, for me, it's more than just a leather family or a kinky family. It's actually some sort of mentoring, which is the other side of leather. That comes from passing on the knowledge that you've learned. And what I mean by knowledge is technical knowledge. Flogging, how to flog, how to do bondage, how to do things safely, how to ask for, how to ask the right questions when you're meeting somebody you haven't met before. How do you deal with safety when it comes to meeting strangers in the houses? So we have a system, for instance. For me, just because they're part of the house, they're very young. This one is
20.
This one is
24.
Oh, damn it! I had it when you were 22 was better. Kidding. So basically, K4 is 32 and K1 is 42. So for me, it's more than sex because it's part of it is friendship, part of it is mentorship, and I think that's what's important. Part of it is human connection. Because they're still very young, they're very new to the scene. I'm not gonna go. I don't think it's reasonable for me to go. Okay, this is it. You're mine forever. You're not touching anybody else. I don't want them to be in that position because what's important for me is for them to actually discover as much as possible in a safe environment. It's the safety part that I'm more worried about than anything else. And how do I deal with this? If they're meeting someone for the first time, is by actually communicating with me by text and telling me what they are, but also that in the case of K1 and K2, we share this app called Life 360. Oh. Good choice. Which allows you to see where it is, where the person is, right? And that really helps to explore our sexuality, to explore leather, to explore BDSM in a safe environment, because we check on each other and making sure that everyone is okay. Now, if you have any questions, can you write a question in on the piece of paper I've given you? Any questions regarding leather or BDSM or these two? Come on. Right. Any questions, and then we collect them, and then I'll try and answer the questions. Now we've got 5 minutes. Go. So you're not doing it.
No, your current leather trousers, you get those from a bike shop.
No, actually there were.
Because I got some leather trousers that look very similar in the feel.
They come from a second-hand shop. Probably Camden, actually. Camden. These were 50 quid.
Wow.
But you have to look around and rummage around.
Yeah.
I think the cheapest I've had leather trousers for is £10.
I got one of most of my Hungarian.
Oh wow, that's already kind of
Yeah, but
high
I
quality.
got the ones with the
The bridges.
and they take down as well. But they cost me.
My first leather jacket was from Hungary, and it was in 1997. Because I remember buying it when I first arrived in France. They had this. I had this tobacco jacket, but I had
At the
it.
same time.
But I've had it for. I had it for a very very long time. I only parted with it. Parted from it 3 years ago, just because of space.
I've still got mine, but it's like a green satin lining in it, and then I've had a mural on the back.
Very good quality.
They've probably got like a leaf tree on there.
Where are you running away?
Do they go in the box?
Oh, yes.
Can I just say,
Are there any places in Camden?
Now, can you collect any questions?
about
Are there any particular places in Camden?
Right, the question. This one is the best.
You go through this one stuff, you have to have 8 people about school. And then you go through this hospital training.
So has everybody handed their card in, or is anybody still voting on?
A few more.
So we can just make sure you get a chance to answer them before we do that.
Okay. Okay, I'll start answering the ones that we have. We need an innocent hand to yours.
Innocent.
I don't think anyone in this room is innocent.
Right. Would you ever consider taking your leather acumen to Madagascar? Yeah. Why not? What are they going to do? They can't arrest me. In fact, in Madagascar, actually, being gay is illegal. It's legal. So it's legal from 21. I don't know why. 21. You can hang around till you're 21, and then you go, hey. Yeah, it's actually legal. So my family, who are into leather jackets mainly, they actually live in Madagascar. So it's not, maybe people will look at you, but it's not like, I don't think it would be a bad thing at all. I would do it. How did you become Mr. Leather London? Did you write this? So the process was actually, it was like a job interview. Now, the funny part was actually last year, I was part of the panel, the judges panel, as someone who's been hosting the Leather Social for a long time. Now, back then, it was a fun pageant thing. And it was supposed to be funny. We had big numbers and we had to show them up, like, and we go nil point, like in Eurovision. And it was a lot of fun because the idea was to create a sense of community and having fun together. Then this year is the total opposite. So there were 10 applicants originally, and they selected 3 of us as the finalists, the official candidates, and we had to produce a video, a 3-minute video, explaining our annual project. My annual project is something called 101 Cafe, and it's about creating connection between people, but deeper connection than the usual, oh, where do you buy your gear, what are you into, which is fun, but also I think to create a real community. I hate that word. Sorry. Because it's been overused. It's not the essence of it. The essence of it is actually very meaningful, very essential in many ways, but actually it's been used so often for just to describe groups of people that it has lost a bit of its meaning. Now, after being one of the 3 finalists, we had an interview in front of a panel of 4 people, one of them being Mr. Leather Europe, Tom Keller, who's my stash daddy now, even though he's half my age. I love calling him daddy, and I go, "Oh, daddy, can you give me some money?" Which he doesn't particularly like. He's entering Mr. International Leather actually this year in a couple weeks' time. So good luck to him. Then there was Georg, who's Mr. Leather Norway 2022, if I'm right, who was visiting. And the president of London Leatherman, someone called James Bannister, very nice guy, and Brian, who was the legacy representative. Legacy representative means that he's been in the club for since the beginning. So he's representing the older part of the club, but also the club in general and the values of the club, which is the main values are friendship, inclusion of new people coming up, but also that sense of belonging to the same group, helping each other in terms of need, celebrating each other in terms of success. And I think that's what makes the community really. Yeah. What leather clothing is available for me?
The ladies.
For the ladies. Oh. Usually corsets are, I've seen many corsets online, leather corsets. And also you can make it your own. You can wear leather trousers if you wish to. You can wear leather dresses if you wish to. I think my experience is based on being a gay man. So I haven't bought any leather dresses yet. Or I've never worn, yet. I've never worn any corset yet. But I think you would be towards those lines. And I think the best way is to have it tailor-made to you. Something that makes you you. I think it makes you stand out in some ways. For me, what I'm wearing today seems like a uniform, but actually means something to me. Because this cap was given to me by a friend. And it was one of those cheaper caps. Normally you identify them when you buy them, and they have this really flat visor. But I was like, actually, this means something to me because it was from a friend. So let me try and change it for myself. So actually what I did is I cut, you can see I slashed this part of the visor, left a bit of it, used super glue, extra leather, and now it fits me better and it looks like what I wanted to achieve. So it means something to me, even though it was cheap. It was actually free from a friend, but the fact that a friend is giving me something means something special to me. And that's where the community side comes in. But I would say, try eBay. The problem with eBay is you can't try anything on. You can return them, I guess. Otherwise, try those leather shops. One of them is called Upper Class Leather, which doesn't sound like a very hype name. But the tailor is really good, and they're really good in terms of catering to what you need. Make it tailor-made as much as possible there. And it's reasonable prices, actually. Any places, particular places in Camden? That was from you. Camden, if you got, there's two particular places. I don't know the names of the shops, though.
They're in the stables, I believe.
Yeah.
There's quite a few second-hand leather stores there.
Stables.
There's also a fetish store. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, but
it's on
the first floor of this new site. Do you know where the toilet is from? That's not Where the toilet is, you go upstairs and you carry on upstairs, and there's this whole new section that's been created. There's also, and that particular place is not just for men, it's actually for women too, and any gender. And they have
a lot of sections. It's not the lower part of Camden, is that?
Yeah. Well,
past the canal and on the other side, the brick buildings.
That's where the stables is,
it's the new site.
Then you have all of the leather stores. I say leather stores. The more punk stores from the tube station up towards the main Camden area. Although they
they're reasonable in pricing. The quality isn't as like they particularly sell like grinders boots, but they fall apart rather quickly. So for the short term, they would be good, but if you want more harder wearing boots, I probably wouldn't recommend them.
I mean, when it comes to second-hand stuff, you will have to try them on.
Yeah.
That's the best thing to do. In some cases, I got a jacket that was second-hand, didn't have any lining and had mold on it. And I thought, you know what, actually, this is like my dream jacket. I'm going to take it and take a risk, buy it, and I checked online how to get rid of mold. If you're lucky, the mold hasn't got inside the leather yet, so it's still good. So what I had to do is use a toothbrush, a bit of soapy water, and then clear the moldy sides, and then recondition everything. And I took it to the tailor, the upper class tailor, leather tailor, and you can come in, you know. And basically, they fixed the inside for 100 quid. They lined it completely, and it's still in the same position that it was when it was created.
Is that what it's? Is that what it
That's
says
one
about
more,
glass
yeah.
leather
That's the
thing?
last one, perfect.
Favorite leather piece. How can you choose between your children? Right. In my case, I would say gloves. Gloves because you can take them everywhere. You can take them on a trip. You can take them to have fun. But also, it's good in winter. No, it's not because they're really thin. So it's really cool. Do you have one more question?
Go on then.
Second-hand bracelet and knickers.
Or knickers or thongs, bracelets.
Is the question just do those exist in leather or?
Well, the question is, somebody needs to go back to class and write.
Behave yourself. Attention to you.
That's what I print, because I can't write.
Also, maybe I need to wear glasses. No, okay, I'm assuming it's about bracelets, bras, knickers, and thongs. Where do you have second handles? I don't know if you want to buy second hand of those.
Probably a market for it.
Probably is. I would say, again, second hand places online, but it will be very rare. When it comes to thongs, it's small enough, I think, that you can get one tailor-made in Brick Lane, and it's yours, unless you like scents and having it been used by others. Don't laugh. But I would say for these, because they're quite specific, I think it would be very hard to find them secondhand, unfortunately. Bras, I've never seen any leather bras, as in a shops.
Very rare.
It's very rare. It's very specific. I'd say try online, eBay, secondhand stuff. I mean,
I don't have a bra.
not you.
I would say, if you're really stuck, go and have a word with Jeff Fiends.
There you go. Yes, I think that's it. Thank you very much for listening and taking care.